Hello everyone, today I'll be showing you how to add a rifle to the Advanced Locomotion System project with firing and ragdolls. Also, in case you didn't know, you can create a new Advanced Locomotion System project by going to the Epic Games launcher, Fab, and searching for Advanced Locomotion System, clicking on it and saying Create Project. So let's get started. So the first thing I'll do is open the content browser, and inside of the Advanced Locomotion V4 folder I'll create a new folder and I'll call it Weapons. Inside of that I'll right click again and create a new blueprint class. Type actor and I'll name it BP underscore base weapon or base gun. So we can open that up and we can add a new skeletal mesh. In the Advanced Locomotion System there is already a M4A1, so I'll select that. It's yellow, but we can fix that later. And yeah, so now we'll open up the ALS, the parent, the ALS base character blueprint, the one with a weird character mesh. And in the event graph, on event begin play, we'll drag off and search for spawn actor from class. The class will be, we'll set that later. The spawn transform, we'll just say get actor transform. Then yeah, it'll give us an error because the class is not set, but in the content browser, in the weapons folder, the base gun, the BP base gun, you can right click and create a new child blueprint class, and I'll call it BP underscore M4. So this will be a rifle, and it already has the parent's mesh. So in the base character BP we can select that for the spawn actor class, so not the base gun, the M4, and the error goes away. The return value we can promote to variable. I'll call it primary weapon. And the type is automatically set to the BP M4, but we want it to be the base weapon or base gun, because if we have, which we will later have, different types of weapons, you will not be able to set the M4 variable to any other weapons. So the base gun you will be able to set to any of the child blueprints, so the M4 or a pistol or whatever we add. So we have that, the weapon. Then we'll drag off the primary weapon and say attach actor to component. The target is the primary weapon and the parent is the mesh. For this socket, the socket name, we go to the content browser and the character assets, mannequin, skeleton, meshes, the anim man, skeleton, mesh, we can also go to the skeleton and the I think it's the VBLHSIK hand R. So I'll copy that and paste that in the socket name. The location rule will be snap to target. Scale rule will be keep world. And yeah, if we test that out, we spawn with the weapon attached to our hand. So in the base character blueprint, we can go to on the variables. We can set the overlay state to be rifle by default. And okay, so the existing code in the ALS project automatically spawns a weapon when you change the overlay state. So in that code is in the child blueprint, the Animan character, not the base character. Here we can go to the held object, update held object, and the rifle pin we can just hold Alt and click to remove that pin. So now there's only one. Let's just see, I think it attaches it to, okay, so it's the wrong socket or wrong bone we attached it to. So I'll copy this in the Animan character attached to hand function, just copy that name and paste it in the base character on the attach actor to component. And now we have a rifle. It does not do anything, and we can still switch to other modes by holding Q and using the scroll wheel. That's weird. But we're making progress. So next we'll add all the firing and shooting logic. So first we need a event. So go into the project settings, scroll down to input, and add a action mapping. I'll call it shoot, and we can press the keyboard icon and left mouse button. Okay, in the base character BP we'll add that shoot input event, but I'll add it in the player input graph. This is where all the input from the player is handled. So I'll right click, search for shoot, and yeah, the shooting and firing logic and applying damage and all that I'll handle in the base gun blueprint, not in the character. It will just keep things more neat. So in the base gun blueprint, I'll delete all those. I'll right click and add a custom event, call it shoot, and on the shoot event we want to do a line trace by channel, and the start I'll drag an add pin to node on the shoot custom event, and the end we will not do that. The start, yes. The end should actually be forward vector. I'll call it forward vector, and the forward vector and the end of the line trace will be the forward vector times, I'll convert the other input to a float, promote that to a variable, call it range. This will be the range that the gun shoots at. I'll set it to maybe 5,000 for as default, and then off of the forward vector times range, I'll add the start vector. Draw debug type I'll set to for duration for testing. Okay, then in the base character we'll drag in the primary weapon variable on the shoot event, drag off and search for shoot. That is the event we just made in the base gun blueprint. The start will be get player camera manager, get world location, get actor location, and the forward vector will be the player camera manager's forward vector. Okay, now if we play and I left click, it shoots a line trace. But a issue we'll have to fix is if the gun is behind the wall and the camera looks past it, it shoots from the camera directly forward, not from the gun's muzzle. So to fix that, in the base gun, this line trace by channel I'll use for calculating where a second line trace will end. So from the line trace I'll drag off and add another line trace by channel. The start will be the start from the the start on the second line trace will be a scene component we add to the skeletal mesh. So the skeletal mesh, we can add a scene component. I'll call it muzzle lock for location, and position it at the barrel, the end of the barrel. So the start will be the muzzle location, get world location, and the end will be the out hit from the line trace channel. We can break that, and we have to add a the select vector. The pick A will be blocking hit. So if we did hit something, we want to use the impact point, but if we did not hit anything, we'll use trace end. So if we shoot into the sky and we just use the impact point, it will give us an error because the line trace did not hit anything, so there is no impact point. So the second line trace by channel, the draw debug type I'll set to for duration again. And now you'll see there's two line traces, one coming from the camera and one coming from the gun's muzzle. So if I'm shooting at something at the other side of the wall will actually block the line trace from the gun. So there's the first line trace, we can set the draw debug type to none, and now it will just be only the one from the gun will be visible, the second line trace. So on the second line trace, we'll add a return value, we'll add a branch, and the condition is the return value, and the output will add another break hit result, and the hit actor we'll call apply damage. The base damage will promote to a variable, call it damage. And in the base character BP, in the event graph, I'll add a event any damage, and let's see, and on the event any damage I'll call ragdoll start, just for testing to see if line traces are hitting. And wait a minute. Okay, the second trace is stopping before it actually hits the character or hits an object. So in the base gun, it's because the first line trace, when it hits something, it returns the exact point where it hit, and if the second line trace ends there, there is a chance that it will be a tiny bit off with point carriers or whatever, and the second line trace will not hit like that. If it creates that little square, it means it did hit. So the end after the select vector will drag off and search for a multiply, and we'll multiply that. Sorry, we'll add the forward vector multiplied by, we'll convert that to a float, and 5, or it doesn't really matter, just it adds a little bit of distance from where the point is. Now the line trace always hits the object it's looking at. The event any damage and ragdoll start, I'll press Ctrl and X to cut it, and I'll add it into the child, the anim man character blueprint in the event graph. So I'll paste that, Ctrl V, and in the base gun blueprint, the damage will have to set to something above 0, so anything above 0 will work. And now if we hit one of these characters, they ragdoll. So at the moment you can shoot while not aiming, but we'll fix that in another episode. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful, and don't forget to comment if you have any ideas or questions. Bye.